Hi, so today I am going to show you my process for potting up my seedlings that I started. I have tomatoes here in front of me, and I started these in, I think, mid to late January, if I remember correctly. And I started them in 72 cell trays, the ones that have the little domes on them. I don't use artificial lights, I use a south-facing window. And after probably about 4 weeks of them growing in the little tiny cell pods, I transplanted them into these 4-inch pots. So I know everyone does gardening differently. This is just how I do it, and it's worked for me. I probably can find quite a few gardeners that can relate to hating spinning out seedlings by pinching them off, and after spending all the time babying and taking care of them to get them to germinate, then just killing them. So I don't do that with my tomatoes. I plant extra in each of my little tiny cells. I usually plant 2 or 3 in each one, just in case something doesn't germinate. And this year I had really great success, and mostly every cell had 2 or 3 tomato plants in it. So when I transplant them out of the cells, I put them into 4-inch pots and fill them back up with potting soil. And then I just use like an organic fertilizer to water them in. And that was about 4 weeks ago that I did that. So now I have these 4-inch ones that have like 3 plants in them, and that can't go on forever because they start to turn yellow and they're not getting the nutrients they need. So this is my process after that step, which I choose the weakest looking seedling out of them, and I keep that one in the soil with the root system. The other 1 or 2 extra tomatoes, I just snip off at the stem, and then I put them into a mason jar with water, and those little furry hairs that are on the stem will grow roots on them. So I already did it with this one. These ones are an emerald green variety, and I kept this long, lanky looking one here. And I just took my scissors and I snipped off the other plants that were in the little pot. I put this one all the way down into the bottom of this larger, I think these are 6 or 8-inch pots, I can't remember. And then I filled it with new soil on top of it. And then I took the other ones that I snipped off, I labeled them on my jar here, and I just put them inside of this water. So these will start to root in probably about 3 to 5 days in a sunny windowsill. And then I'm going to replant these into their own little, probably about this size to start with, a 4-inch pot. If they grow quickly, I might put them just directly into big ones, but I'll probably put them in these first, and then I will have a second or a third succession planting of tomatoes without wasting any of my seeds that germinated. And that's always worked really well for me. I know a lot of people just find it easier to put them all in one flat bed of soil and then pinch off the seedlings and keep the strong ones, and that's fine. But this way I don't waste any of those seedlings or the effort that I put into germinating them. So I'm going to show you this variety here, oops, pulled that one out, is a green giant, and it's got 2 plants inside of it. So I'm going to keep the smaller one here inside of it, and then this taller one, I just take my scissors and I will just, I don't know if that's focusing on that, I will just cut it off right here, and then I strip off all the little leaves on the bottom end here. And I will give it one more cut just to make it a little shorter, and then I just drop it into the water here, and I remove my tape that has the label on it, and I label up my jar so I know which variety is in what. And then I take one of my larger pots here, and same thing with this one. I'm going to remove the smaller seeds here, or leaves, not seeds, and then pull out my root system and kind of shake up the roots a little on the bottom, and then I just bury it deep here, and then I fill it up with new organic potting soil. And if the seedling's like leaning one way or another, I just try and like hold it up against the other way and then put the more soil on that side and then press it down. And then I will water this in with an organic fertilizer after that. And then I'll put my little, oops, that's the wrong tag. So that one was Green Giant, so I need to make a Green Giant label and put it in there. So the other thing I was going to show you is what happens when you grow without lights. A lot of times the plants reach for the window, the light source, and some people think that that's not so great. I've never had an issue with it. Sometimes my plants even look like this guy. See how it's completely bent off to the side? This one's a Black Beauty variety, and it's tall and it wants to fall over. So all I do is I remove the lower leaves there, and then I shake up the root system, and then I just lay the pot or the soil and root system kind of in there sideways to make it want to stand up a little taller, so I can bury as much as that stem as possible. And all those little hairs on that stem will make a stronger root system if they're buried. So I just hold the plant up, kind of press it down inside of there so that it's not wanting to get out of the pot. Be careful so you don't break your seedling or your plant in half though by pressing too hard. And then I continue to fill up the new pot with potting soil to try and hold it kind of upright, and then press it down so that it stays. And then it will have a stronger root system and it's not toppling over on its side. And after I water them in, I usually add just like a little bit more soil on top. I should have pinched that leaf off. So anyways, that is how I do my seedling transplants. And these will stay in these pots for probably another, what's today, April? I don't put these out until the first week of May. So they'll be in these pots for another 4 weeks. And I'm gonna start hardening them off to the greenhouse probably within the next week. And then they'll spend 3 to 4 weeks in the greenhouse, and then they will be planted into my straw bales that are conditioned and ready to go.